Okay, I think that we're live. Good morning, everybody. This is your host, Paolo Pupoli. We're here today with a session which aims to share our knowledge, so we call it the Knowledge Series webinars. And the focus of these sessions is about segmentations. Amra, if you can move to the next slides. The seminars is run by Amra Sanz. We're very lucky. He's a founder of MATCH2LISTS companies, extremely knowledgeable about the topic of segmentations. He spent more than enough time at Dell driving all of the segmentations in the specific companies, also in HP, Unilevers. When he was hired at Dell, he created an organization called Segmetrics. So it's a play on words on segmentic analytics. So just to drive the topic of segmentations. And like I said, the CEO, founding members of MATCH2LISTS, which helps customers running these projects. So Amra, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for accepting the sessions. Over to you, if you can let us know what segmentation is all about.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this webinar in our knowledge sharing series. And we're looking forward to following this up with discussions with you about your experiences with segmentation, your interests, your plans. We've certainly had a lot of experience over the years running segmentation projects, and it was not just me, but Paolo here as well has been heavily involved in his prior lives and at Fujitsu, Siemens, and other companies, and has a very hands-on, in-depth experience on segmentation and analytics. My background is initially Unilever, Hewlett-Packard, and Dell, where at Dell many years of developing a state-of-the-art segmentation methodology, and then I carried that forward into additional development in a company we created called Segmetrics, as Paolo mentioned. And segmentation, as you probably appreciate and are aware, requires a lot of data crunching, data sets from your internal sources, from your external sources. And one of the key mechanics behind the scenes for producing or being able to segment data is the act of data matching. And from Segmetrics, another company was born, a SaaS solution called MATCH2LISTS, which helps you create very quick matching projects that is needed for segmentation, but for other purposes as well. The topic for today is why and how to segment your customers and your prospects. And I'm sure a lot of you have already got segmentation methodologies in your business or are looking to implement it. And the idea of this session is to share ideas and best practices of how to get there. And let's establish very quickly kind of why we need to segment. Your sales teams and your marketing team need data to be able to compete in this in the business world today, and it's not sufficient only to look at your customers that you have already worked with, or just get a list of prospects that you want to work with, but you really want to turn your data assets into powerful information that helps you keep your customers, extend your foothold in existing customers, and to win new prospects from parts of the market that you really want to work with. You need to understand your total market. You need to understand the addressable part of that market for your products and your services. And then against that addressable market, you need to look at where do your existing customers fit? How much business are you already doing with that addressable market? And how do you size that addressable market for your sales and your marketing budgets and plans to be laid out in in a way that is consistent with the opportunity ahead of you. You want to segment so that you understand your companies that you're dealing with, whether customers or prospects, in a lot more detail. You may be doing business with 3 customers initially on your CRM, but when you match it to external data sources, you discover that those 3 customers are part of one parent organization. And this presence here in this organization with 3 customers gives you the right to, to explore avenues of where you can go and sell to other parts of the same organization through site development efforts.
Amra, that is about cross-selling, right?
This is about cross-selling. This is about, it's something we call site development, which is the discovery of where you have presence in larger organizations. As you know, it's much easier to sell to companies that already know you. So if you happen to be doing business with certain sites within a large organization, then that gives you a warmer audience in the form of that larger company. And by working closely with the HQs and key stakeholders in that organization, you might more easily open up doors in a very large organization such as Unilever or Shell, etc. So it's a very worthwhile exercise in its own right, outside of typical segmentation, but it's one of the nice side products of any segmentation effort. The way to look at customers is not just by how much revenue you're doing with them, but in order to segment properly, you need an idea of what the overall potential is of that customer. And then that changes the way you look at these customers and prospects. When you look at them by revenue perspective, you may have thought that this was the most important customer to focus on because that's your biggest revenue. It is a big potential because you've got some room to grow, but not as much room as other companies here out there in the market where you have a huge opportunity, but no existing share. So how do you treat this customer, large opportunity, where you have a little bit of share to go after, or this might be where you've maxed out, and how do you tackle these other opportunities in the market from a sales and a marketing perspective? Ultimately, you want to have an account-based sales and marketing strategy for each and every customer, for each and every prospect. And the segmentation methodology allows you to see customers and prospects in a different light. And we're going to explain a simple methodology we call the RAD methodology, or the RAD cube, which allows you to have a lens on your customer and your prospect market, and differentiate how you approach those customers by looking at them in 3 categories: acquisition companies, acquisition accounts, development accounts, and retention accounts. It starts off and it kicks off by looking at not just your customer revenue, but you also need to look at what is the wallet potential or the size of the opportunity that you have with those customers. You might have a 10 million revenue with a customer and 100 million wallet size. And that's quite a wide topic of discussion, and we're happy to work with your team on a one-on-one basis to share with you how we've calculated wallet for companies, methodologies in some key sectors that we're very experienced with, and mechanisms which we can share with you to perhaps calculate wallet in an industry we haven't worked with, and explore the nuances of your particular industry.
Amra, wallet has always been intriguing to me as a topic. It is really about trying to say how much a company can buy of a given product. And what you're trying to do is show light on the best companies that are out there for my product or my marketplace. And you mentioned a moment ago that it's a fairly tricky exercise to do. Is there any recommendations that you can put? Or is it something that is very specific that requires expertise? So we need to come to you for this type of work.
We define wallet as an estimation of the potential spend of a company on your products and your services, or sometimes it's just products. So sometimes it's easier to calculate on a specific set of products. It's important to distinguish between wallet and budget. It is not a confirmation of how much a company is planning to spend in this coming year or the following 12 months. It's an estimation of the potential to spend on your products based on that company's size. And there's some ingredients required to be able to calculate wallet. Ideally, a unified or a consistent way to estimate the company's size, number one. So, for example, number of employees is a good kind of more readily available piece of information that is more consistently available on most companies from different data sets. The second thing is the industry that company works within. If you have different companies by different industries and different company sizes by different industries, surely there is a propensity of one industry to spend. So given two companies of the same size, but in two different industries, there is probably a differentiation in how those companies would spend on your particular product. For example, a company of 100,000 employees in catering is not going to spend the same amount on PCs and laptops as another company with 100,000 employees in the banking sector, for instance. Even in two similar spending industries like banking and IT, if you look at the spend on servers, for example, the company, a banking industry would probably spend, actually probably these days IT and banks would probably spend quite a substantial amount on servers. So the ability to work out a buying potential per employee is the secret sauce, or this is the exercise that is required to be able to have a mechanism to calculate wallet. Because if you can get down to that level of granularity, or it's not, or level of indicator or coefficient per industry, then it means you just add water to that sauce, and that water is basically number of employees per company, and then you apply your coefficient methodology to calculate wallet. And
Thank you.
You know, this is kind of the reason why Match2Lists exists, because behind the scenes in all of this, and you've heard me say it a few times and throw in the word several times, matching. Now, matching different data sets, i.e. your customers, with the outside data that is available on companies, is a very tricky exercise, knowing that company names will be spelled differently, addresses will be spelled differently. And if you want to gather the pieces of the puzzle on Unilever with all its variations of spellings and entity names and all the variations that exist on your system, this is where the time-consuming challenge comes in. The wallet is an important and a time-consuming exercise to do. But there is a piece here that we've eliminated in terms of the time and cost by creating Match2Lists. We can discuss that later on. The important thing here is to understand the ingredients and the mechanism of creating segmentation. So as I said, and your question was a good teaser to this slide, which is, what is the size of wallet? Well, if we think of a consistent size estimate of companies, like say employees, And if we work on a buying power index or coefficient for the SIC or the industry code of that company, then we have this multiplier that we can use every time we have a company. We just need its employees, its SIC code, we can calculate its wallet. Wallet as an estimation of the opportunity, the total opportunity of that company. Now, where are you with that total opportunity? What's your share? Well, that's the revenue divided by that wallet. It gives you the share of wallet. Now, how do we segment from this point? Do we look just at the share? How much share do we have of companies? Now, the whole idea of segmentation is to create a language that the entire business can use to communicate between sales, marketing, and finance. And looking at that share and splitting the share and the wallet into small, medium, and large. So small wallet, let's say 0 to 5 million, medium 5 to 10 million, large wallet sizes are 10 million plus. That's the first step, is small, medium, and large. Now, that's the size of the opportunity. Now let's look at how much share do you have of the wallet. Let's assume that less than 10% share you have. We'll call those companies still in acquisition stage. So you've got small, medium, and large acquisition companies. 10 to 30% development companies. So you have small, medium, and large development opportunities. And 30% share plus, we'll call them retention accounts. Let's call 0% share prospects, pure prospects. Companies with opportunities for which you have no sales at all. Absolute green spaces or white spaces for you to go after. The aim of looking at the companies in this manner means that these prospects you want to acquire by using your existing foothold in this relationship to gain or regain the account and grow aggressively. The development companies, these are customers where you should start cross-selling and upselling, doing site development activities, selling your managed services, selling your higher-end products or higher margin products. Retention is your top accounts that you depend on for a big chunk of your P&L. And these where you want to make sure they continue to be loyal, you continue to serve, to have the excellent service. Of course, you want excellent service across your entire organization, but you want particular attention to your retention accounts. So this segmentation allows you to look at your target market and split it into a RAD cube. So you build the RAD matrix by looking, like I said, at your acquisition, development, and retention row by small, medium, and large accounts. And the data that's sat behind the scenes to be able to calculate this also contains other pieces of information that you want to aggregate into these quadrants or into these cubes. So number of accounts, how much revenue those number of accounts are doing in the acquisition large accounts. What's the potential, and therefore what's your share? What's your revenue per unit? What's your gross margin? And what product mix do you have in each of those quadrants? And now compare what you see with what you expect to see. And this is where the power of segmentation comes into play. Because you can start analyzing what you see with what you expect to see in acquisition. You expect to see that you have aggressive pricing to displace your competitors. But if the margins in your industry is 24, 26, and 19 is considered high, it means your pricing isn't aggressive enough. It means it leaves the door open for your competitors to try and attack you rather than vice versa. Like I said, the service levels is an important metric to measure. And the accounts here where you have 10 accounts giving you 60 million, the nature of the beast of any segmentation exercise and the nature of the mathematics is 20% of your accounts will sit here giving you 80% of the revenue. So all you have to do is lose 1 or 2 companies in this area here, and you have a big hole in your P&L. So your retention accounts demand excessive attention in terms of everything from relationship to service levels, etc. Your sales team, how do you allocate your sales team, your internal salespeople and your external salespeople? Well, now that you can see what the spread of companies are between small, medium, and large, if you tie in your salespeople and see how they are allocated to this matrix, and discover that your some field salespeople are working your small accounts, and some telesales are working the large accounts. Surely it should be vice versa. Your field salespeople should be on this right-hand side working your larger accounts, and your telesales on the left-hand side working smaller accounts. So it has implications for how you allocate your resources from a who's working which accounts perspective. For marketing questions, are you doing sufficient targeting exercises with your high-end and managed service products for your retention space? If you took your marketing budget and spread it evenly across your entire account base in the form of, I don't know, digital marketing or generic marketing campaigns, it means that everybody in your universe or target market receives the same amount of marketing. Well, surely there should be a distinction. Maybe the smaller accounts get your digital marketing and email marketing campaigns, but the larger accounts deserve maybe a £1,000 per account campaign if their opportunity for each one of these is 10 million plus. They shouldn't just be getting the same digital marketing only as the rest of your accounts. So this is where your marketing budget, your marketing spend will need to differentiate based on the size of the opportunity, the type of opportunity. Here you might just be trying to message the knowledge of your company, your range of products. Up here, you're trying to message that you have additional higher end products more suited to your customers' particular needs, or different kind of areas where you can improve your product mix through the relationship that you now have established with these retention customers. So, sorry, you have a question, Paolo?
Yeah. You know, it looks like very much a data-driven exercise. Mm-hmm. But how much does this type of segmentation approach allows me to raise it to a strategic level? You mentioned about the distributions of budget. I am thinking about the ABM software that exists out there, which tend to be a step after this. So, you know, it's a piece of work that to me is key, is required before you even consider ABMs. But how much does all this matrix allows me to drive a strategic discussions in how sales or marketing, sales and marketing and finance really integrate together?
Good question. So
do you have a slide of that?
Absolutely. This is a critical piece for being able to address that issue in a very logical and a very strategic manner. By deciding where your accounts are and how much they're going to be able to drive your growth, you can pre-plan the amount of resources and the type of resources against those accounts. You can, your account planning should be strategic for some of the larger accounts here on the A2, A3 column in terms of winning new accounts as well as retaining existing and developing existing customers. You might have campaigns here that involve your CEOs and your CFOs to go in and visit these companies at a quarterly basis because of how important this spot is, as well as some of the very large acquisition opportunities that are still ahead of you. you want a faster run rate from a marketing and an ROI on marketing perspective down here. And this is where your ABM solutions, whilst ABM applies to your entire account base, some of your digital marketing efforts really need to be kind of sharpened in this part of the cube. So it's not just about seeing the customers and doing a marketing campaign against them. It's about unifying the resources, everybody from the CEO down to the sales rep and the service team, to addressing the opportunities within the context of this of the importance of those opportunities to your business. So you can start taking some of these strategies and assigning those strategies from a strategic planning perspective to your quadrants. So
that's the slide I wanted.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
So your acquisition campaigns, what door opener campaigns do you need to win the new business through aggressive pricing, for example? Customer briefings, tests, systems, or POCs, competitive displacement campaigns to move out or try and displace specific competitors from that target. Development activities, product penetration programs, grow through vertical and horizontal penetration, upselling, cross-selling, site development, business seminars, technical seminars to expand knowledge. For the retention space, like I said, senior executive programs, hospitality events, quarterly executive meetings. Those are the types of things that are relevant once customers get into this space. Here you need a bit more air cover. Kind of smaller accounts need outbound telemarketing and lead generation, low cost touch, and ways to generate run rate business wherever the products that are relevant. And this just creates a flow, a continuous flow for your business to work on to acquire, develop, and retain, and apply the right strategies depending on where that account sits in its life cycle or in its journey with you.
So say segmentations look like initially just a data exercise, but in fact it is a strategic function.
Absolutely.
For guiding the business.
Absolutely.
And essentially it allows a direct path to senior management for whomever is running this type of project, if done well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we think about what it actually leads to, it really leads to a prioritization of your strategy, and it really crystallizes what needs to be done. Because you think the outcome that comes from this would be, let's say, short-term priority set of targets, medium-term and longer term. Within short-term, you can split that into priority 1A, 1B, 1C, medium-term 2A, 2B, and so on. It doesn't mean that this is kind of least important. It just means it needs to be treated differently. This might be the 50 accounts that the business needs to really be focused on this quarter, because it is critical for meeting this quarter's target. And priority 1B is the prepping of next quarter's target accounts based on the various criteria. And it's not just about revenue divided by buying power and share of wallet. Once you have that linkage between your existing customers and your external customers, you can start bringing in data sets from different other sources to augment your view of those customers. As you know, there's lots and lots of different data sets. There's your CRM, there's your corporate accounts list, there's your global accounts, there's your mid-market team, you have channel partners, you have the results from marketing automation, you've got your customer revenue, orders, you've got external data sets. It could be wallet data sets that you've constructed on your target market that we've seen in this exercise so far, or it could be Forbes 2000, Fortune 500. Each one of these different data sources might have different pieces that give you an additional in-depth view of that customer and that prospect, and therefore the ability to determine how you need to treat them. Now, what we have done in Match2Lists is created a tool that allows you to match any data to any data on demand. You could be matching, for example, your CRM data to the Dun & Bradstreet data so that you get the global ultimate hierarchy. You get the wallet size from the segmentation effort. You get technology install-based profiles from companies like Rhetoric. You can get contacts from companies like Rhetoric or other third-party providers. That's the idea of Match2Lists, is that, as you can imagine, the grunt work required to produce all of this stuff is quite extensive, and Match2Lists has created the SaaS solution to be able to match relevant or disparate data sets that relate to the same entity under one single customer view, so that you can pull up this information and have a 360 view of your clients based on the different data sets that you've gathered, or you can procure from external data sources. This is where you end up building information rather than just looking at raw data. Together, this data starts telling stories. Separately, they don't tell you much. You can act in very limited fashion if you rely on any one data source in its own right. But once you have it all together under the same, let's say, Ogilvy group that belongs to WPP, now you can see that you have multiple relationships with this one organization, and you have various different insights into not just the overall organization, but the different subsidiaries within it.
So Match2List is essentially the tool that you've created to guide this process, to take away all of the time-consuming exercise, the tedious pieces of work that needs to tie up all these loose data endings into meaningful information. How easy is it to use?
It is. It's not the tool to produce the segmentation. The segmentation requires a lot of work from your analysts and your BI experts and your data scientists, and we have the team to be able to help you on that regard. But Match2Lists is a very simple to use tool to allow the biggest headache of all of this is the actual data matching. So the fun stuff is the analytics and the stuff that your data scientists work on. The painful stuff is when you have hundreds of different versions of Vodafone on your CRM list versus another set of 1,000 versions of Vodafone on another data set, and you really want to look at Vodafone, and you want to collate information from different data sources that have all these variations against just one Vodafone. Now the spellings could be different. One could be Vodafone UK Limited. One could be an entry in your CRM. Vodafone, open brackets, met them at the Expo last year, close brackets, PLC. So if you look
the grouping piece,
yeah,
the grouping piece is a nightmare.
Absolutely. The matching together of these data sets is a nightmare. So we've created a tool with data scientists who worked out algorithms to be able to see through all of this plethora of variations in company names, in addresses, in postcodes, etc., and be able to tie anything related to the same organization under one reference, so that you can then go and pull the information that you need from different places to do segmentation, to do installed base analysis, to do contact gathering, to do many things. So it is the process which allows you to have the linkage created between different data sets. We've created a very simple process. We don't have time to take you through it in this presentation, but it involves 5 steps. Upload your data, select what you want to do with your data, whether you want to match 2 data sets, merge, dedupe, match the D&D. Grab a coffee because it's going to crunch the information for some time. Then we've gamified the results so that it is a very easy to verify process to verify the accuracy of these matches. And then you download your results that you can take into your business intelligence platform, your CRM, or whatever you're going to work on next. It's designed so that no technical it's designed so that there's no technical skills required, and anyone can use it across the different departments. Projects that or activities in matching that would normally take days or weeks, sometimes months, is done in a couple of hours. No SQL, no kind of data knowledge or kind of tool-based database knowledge required for this. It's all done visually in a beautiful format. There's videos we can share with you, but there's also, more importantly, we can jump on a call and take you through a one-on-one exercise, perhaps with your own data set, to show you how you can start building together or constructing the data set required for segmentation. We have experience in various different sectors doing B2B segmentation. We're happy to learn which sector you're in and understand more about your business and see if we can share our knowledge with you or help you get involved with a segmentation project, not just on the matching side, but also on the actual mechanics of building a segmentation model and how to use it within your business. The time today was just to give you a little taster of our approach to segmentation, an indication that there is a tool to help with some of the more difficult and time-consuming aspects of building a segmentation project. But we could literally talk for days on end about the processes involved as well as the power it brings.
I have a question here, and it's really about the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Whom, from your experience and in your views, within an organization is best to be responsible for this type of activity? Is it something that sits in sales, and then therefore they tell what marketing have to do? Or is it the marketing functions, and then they tell sales, look, these are your accounts? Is it finance? Is it business intelligence? From your experience, where did you see it sitting and be most successful so far?
From our experience, it's best situated, or it can be situated, and it has worked equally successfully, whether that resource sits under business intelligence with a very strong connection to sales and marketing. It has existed as a data analyst within the marketing team, or data analyst in the sales operations side. And we have seen it work successfully across those functions on the proviso that whoever is responsible for it unifies the other functions. It cannot be siloed in sales, it cannot be siloed in marketing, and cannot be siloed as a nice to have analytical exercise. Because you could very easily give it to someone who's very focused on analytics and not have the connections into sales and marketing, and it becomes an analysis paralysis exercise. Extremely fancy analytics, but too complicated for the sales managers and the salespeople or the marketing team to act upon it. You need something that is very simple, although the data is, constructing the data is a difficult exercise, or it's an intricate exercise. The information that comes out of it has to be simple and has to be actionable.
There's another thing here, which is perhaps a plus on the basket of hours of MATCH2LISTS, and it's a not invented here type of approach. I know that MATCH2LISTS can create accounts and have users distributed from multiple locations. So it can offer the capabilities of centralizing the work of data analytics and data matching and business intelligence, but at the same time involve the local entities, so the sales side, who are on the front line, and often argue that, oh, well, the data isn't necessarily what it is in the marketplace. So do you feel that the way the MATCH2LISTS is set up, so offering this capability to work centrally, locally, centrally, and locally together is a plus in one of these exercises? I mean, you mentioned a moment someone that is well connected. Does the tool help that connectivity?
So let me be very clear that the tool does not provide segmentation analytics. It enables segmentation through the data matching of various data sets. Now, given that the validity of your segmentation is dependent on the validity of the underlying data set, it is important that if the exercise is being done across multiple countries, is that people have buy-in in the underlying assumptions and the underlying data. So to make sure that people are happy with the underlying data, the MATCH2LISTS allows, multiple members of the extended project team across different countries to contribute their view on the linkage between the different data sets. So you can kick off a project in the UK, for instance, but maybe the analyst in the UK isn't familiar with the nuances of certain companies in the Swedish marketplace to determine, that company does belong to that one, that's a match, or this one, although they sound the same, they're completely different. These abbreviations look the same. If, for example, BP and BP Group in the UK, or BBC and British Broadcasting Corporation would be an immediate link, and despite one being an acronym and one being a complete, fully spelled out name of an organization, it's an immediate tie for someone in the UK. Those types of sensitivities exist for other many companies in the local territories, in the local markets, and the involvement of members there to help with the verification process means more and more people are bought in ultimately to the underlying data set, so that when you get to the point of producing segmentation analytics, people are now past the point of questioning the data and focusing really on the analysis.
Yeah, that is a big barrier to overcome, and I really found these functionalities, these capabilities of the solutions, especially the intuitiveness of the tool. So it's not really a technical barriers to enable to sail over this challenge very, very easily and have a lot of buy-in inside the project so that you can drive it to success. Okay, thank you, Amra. I think it's enough. We've taken a lot of your time. I really just wanted to suggest a closure. So if anyone wants to dig deeper into our approach or services around segmentations, then you have Amra's at MATCH2LISTS.com's email address. Please drop him an email, or myself. It is possible for you to log in at MATCH2LISTS, create a trial account, and make some service usage for that data element, which we said is a real difficult activities for the specific projects. Don't forget that both Amra and I and the rest of the team at MATCH2LISTS are here to help you address that group inside, but more specifically to guide you on the creations of that secret sauce that Amra mentions a couple of times in the presentations, which is this wallet, this ability to look at an organization for its potential. And it is a tricky exercise, it's a tricky piece of work to create a KPI or a metric or, again, a coefficient. So do reach out and we'll try our very best. Thank you, Amra. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.